G'day listeners and welcome back to another episode of the Keeper League podcast, with our AFL fantasy podcast that doesn't talk about the superstars. We only talk about the lesser knowns and the players who are going to bring value to your draft and Keeper League teams. My name's Heff and I am joined once again by podcast favourite Jordan DeSena. How you going, mate?
Good, mate. Thanks for having me back on. I feel like a lot has happened since I seen you last, I reckon.
Yeah, well, should we start it off with the Warren Treadray feud? is that what you're referring to?
Yes, it went nuts on socials. I think I texted you 160k is massive. Yeah,
I think that was just like the original, and then I think there was another like 100k on the one that his missus put on her Instagram as well. But just kind of calling things out. I don't think it's really appropriate for a board member to be in charge of legal and financial decisions at a football club and then not recognise legal tender at the same time. As much as good work he's done getting Ken Hinkley out of the club, I just think it's a bit of a bad look, don't you? You're a Port supporter, you're a member. What do you think?
I'm sort of staying out of it. I'm obviously a member. I'll support the club through and through. So
you are. You're not critical at all.
No,
I'm very critical.
I'm happy to I love more probably just going to the game and enjoying it. And I know we want success, but I know it's hard to win. So I'm happy just to enjoy the roller coaster as it is.
Anyway, I just thought it was pretty funny. Just didn't really expect a snap back from them or whatever, and I thought it'd be pretty clear cut. But it's kind of funny that you get a fefew responses from people that are like, do you actually agree with Warren Treadray's stance on legal tender, or do you agree with him on other things? Because I didn't mention anything about any of his political views or anything like that. I purely just don't think it's appropriate for like I said, someone to have decisions, or power in decisions on financial matters to have those kind of views. That's all. But anyway, we'll move past that one. A bit of heartbreak in the Keeper League this week. I lost by a point.
Did you?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. So 1 point.
I reckon this is probably one of the. I've had a lot of bad beats. So I'm in one league where I get a lot of luck. Where I seem to just be able to pull good players out of the draft that just pop and things like that, or I'll win games that I have no right winning and stuff like that. In my home league with the Walkerville boys, the footy club boys, I just seem to have the worst luck in that league. Like last year, I think I lost a game I won the game after the final siren, but then I lost the game in a score adjustment. So my tackle came off and I lost by 1 after being up by 3 at the end of the game. And then I think the grand final, Brent Daniels laid out, lost it by 30 points in that one.
I remember I texted you on that one.
Yeah, I was at the library.
No rolling lockout.
I was at the library with my son. I remember the shock as it came through. And then this year, this one as well. So yeah, just the 1 point.
You must have been praying for that adjustment if you could
because I was in contact with Ryan Powell. I was like, please add a free kick to one of his players. No dice. No, I was just joking. But I knew that the scores were set by then, because he's like, no, I've just run the final calculation, so it's all set. There's no chance of you getting a score adjustment. So that was that dream was over fairly quickly, thankfully. So I wasn't sitting around refreshing for 2 hours after the game or anything like that. But
that sucks, eh? Especially when you're contending or close or
Well, this is what happened. There's 2 minutes to go and I got up by about 4 points, I think it was. So I was winning. Riley West, of all people. I had Fraser and West versus Lockie Bramble in the last game. Lockie Bramble scored 94, something ridiculous. Fraser and West versus Bramble in the last game. Fraser doing stuff all game. We'll talk about him in his role later on. But Riley West, of all people, going okay. And then he took a mark on the wing, gave the hand, so quick +5. I think that put me up by about 4 points. And I was like, and it went side forward 50. I think Darcy kicked a goal after that. So then the ball went back to the centre square. Then I think Richmond got the clearance and kicked back. And then Lob took the mark, but then did the chip around the back. And so Bramble got a +6 in there. So I think I was down by about 2 after that. And then Riley West, for some reason, just tried to take a massive hanger on the half-forward flank and got called for unrealistic attempt. So I think then I was down by 6 after that. And then, so maybe it was 6. Yeah, it was 6. And then later on he got a free kick, high tackle, and took the kick. So another +4 there. But that put me down by a point overall. But yeah, it's pretty frantic. But in fairness,
stressful. Imagine if that was like a final.
But that's what makes fantasy so good, though. Even though I lost the game, I'm sitting there glued to the screen, screaming, getting writing every move in like what was absolute like a piss poor piece of shit game.
Yes, and you were
really getting into it really right.
yeah.
That's why like fantasy is the most amazing thing in the world. And if you disagree, there's something wrong with you. But anyway, do you want to get stuck into the round rewind?
Let's get stuck in.
All right, Fremantle versus Essendon on the Friday night. Heath Chapman, first one, 81 points. Essendon are the easiest matchup for rebounding defenders. I also had Luke Ryan as one of my left field captain options this week, which paid off.
Really good VC.
Do you have any other opinions on Heath Chapman, or do you just think that's a good matchup for him?
Yeah, I think the good matchup. Like we saw, did Jordan Clark. I think he went massive as well. I think, I mean, he's looking pretty good. I think Chapman. Some of my waivers might have a look at him, but yeah, I think it's definitely matchup based with that one on the Thursday night.
Yeah, so the same probably applies with Carl Warner as well. I've liked him in patches this year. It depends on personnel and who's missing and stuff like that, or favourable matchups, but
I get him
same
confused
thing
with Wagner all the time.
Yeah, Wagner's got the longer hair, doesn't he?
And obviously Wagner tags,
and
he's at halfback. So, yeah.
And then onto the Essendon side of things, same kind of deal. Jayden Laverde's had back-to-back good scores. Fremantle are giving up. I think they're the top 3 for most points to key defenders, though, as well.
Yeah.
Anything you're taking away from this, or do you reckon he's just got lucky in a couple games?
I think he got a bit lucky. The thing with Essendon is they do have a lot of guys coming back after the bye, and I think, Laverde was the one that sort of got a call up when all those guys went down. Your Ridleys, your Reeds, your there's one other, Redmond.
Yeah.
And I think they're pretty much, if they're not coming back after the bye, that's one after that. So just be wary on his job security, I think, when those guys come back.
Yeah.
And there's a few kids in the back line, like Angus Clark's there, Zach Johnson. So do they, like, there's a lot of, I mean, I'm seeing on X a lot of Essendon supporters want to start playing the kids now, potentially. And, I'm sure we'll talk about, roles of maybe the midfields for Essendon and what they do. But, maybe they start to blood these kids.
Yeah, I like that you refer to it as X and not Twitter. I still haven't got there yet. The other one was Archer May. He had 75 points. He was, I think, the 3rd best averaging player in the mid-season draft.
Yep.
Key forward, though. Kicked 2 goals. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I brought him in Classic this week.
Yeah.
And
that's pretty good pickup.
Yeah, he did. I'd be surprised if he gets dropped after the bye.
I agree.
Did really well.
Do you think he's putting up 74 points each week, though?
I don't reckon, no.
Neither.
So, tip of the cap, I reckon.
Yeah, definitely. Let's move on to the Geelong versus Brisbane game. Jack Martin, I didn't watch him last week, so I didn't really understand why he scored so well. But then watching this game, he was part of the wing rotation. And I'll take any forward that's playing up on the wing.
Yeah.
So he had 84 points.
That's good.
I think he was one of the top 5 most requested on the waiver this week on keeper as well. Got the forward status. I reckon it's a good pickup if you can get him, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, anyone forward status, bit of wing time, you're not relying on goals as much.
Yeah.
Pick him up.
Yeah, definitely. Logan Morris is coming of age at the moment. Back-to-back 5-goal games.
Every time I think about this, for some reason, I think about K's for some reason with Logan Morris.
He was one of his picks.
Yeah, I thought whether it was a pre-season article or something, it was pretty hot. Or maybe the keeper, he went pretty hot early on him.
Yeah. I just think of McDonald's when I think of Logan Morris.
Yes,
but yeah, I reckon he's going to be a key forward fantasy prospect. The big bags are probably unsustainable, but has some potential, to be a 70 to 80 type guy, don't you think?
Yeah, he's really come of age. And, Brisbane, Danaher was how are they going to fill Danaher?
Yeah.
And they've got this guy, Logan Morris, right there. Obviously they drafted Sam Day, but Morris, he's right there. Premiership player. I saw pre-game 7 AFL put up a stat, and after 32 games, he's kicked more goals at the moment than Larkey, Curnow, Thriller. So this is the comparison that they had. Sam, Darcy, Hogan, Jezza were ahead, but he was in the middle there. So he's on the right trajectory.
Yeah, so if you put him in that kind of company, they're the fieldable, maybe not Larkey as much, but they're the kind of fieldable forwards out there, so key forwards. So he's probably going to be up in that company. Cam Rayner, 98 points. He's kind of getting his scoring done outside of the forward 50, but starting in the forward 50.
He's rolling, yeah.
He rolls in and then kind of sweeps back and, gets kicks going inside 50. Kicked 3 goals this weekend. I think he's on a bit of a tear, though, on his scoring, isn't he?
I think so. I feel like Rayner does his every... he'll go on a patch. And I reckon it was almost this time. It was back into last year.
He got too good for the podcast at one stage.
And even I remember Supercoach, I was like, wow, because he's a high impact player. I was considering bringing him in because I was like, he's gone massive. So yeah, I don't know. It's probably just the Cam Rayner thing. The thing about Brisbane that I noticed was I was watching the game and like Zach Bailey had a really hot patch for like, I think it was in the third quarter. And I was like, wow, like Bailey must be killing it.
Yeah.
And I checked his score and he's on 40.
He does that, yeah.
And I just feel like Brisbane, they're so like their depth is so good that basically any player just needs to have, 5 good touches and they look good. But as a team, that it's unreal. But fantasy wise, these types sort of are in and out all the time. Like I thought Bailey, for example, was killing it,
Yeah.
But he only got like a low score. So
yeah. There's a fair spread, isn't there, for points scorer, unless you're one of the kind of top flight midfielders.
Yes.
And even some of them are struggling. Like they had a good game, but Geelong is surprisingly an easy matchup for midfielders. So that may be part of the reason there. Kai Lohmann is finding some form at 84 points. Has the potential to pop, but it's just one of those players hard to pick when it's going to be, right?
Yep. And he was subbed the week before.
Correct.
I think that was
brutal.
Yeah, I think that was a good wake up call for him though, because maybe he needed that because he was a bit out of form, and I think he was taking hangers and stuff.
Like, he keeps getting injured though. Like I kind of feel for him a little bit, but yeah. Anyway, like he's a good one to just have on your bench for streaming and situations like that. Loopholing. Carlton versus North Melbourne. Watch this game at the casino with Louis and Cracky. You went. Oh, you were gigging, weren't you?
I was in Rundle Mall. Yeah.
Missed you there, and I didn't see you at the footy. Didn't see you at the footy, so I saw everyone else but you.
You went on the hill at the footy.
No, I sat up my normal seats. I can't stand for that long. I'm getting too old.
Yeah. Louis said, "Oh, I'm on the hill," and I said, "No, I can't see."
I tried to get him to go in the seats above me. There's GA. Yeah. So I tried to get him to go up there, and then I was going to pop up if they went there, but then they were like, "No, we're going to the hill." I think Cracky didn't want to sit that high or something like that. He must be scared of heights or something. I don't know. But he wanted to go to the hill, so I was like, fuck that. No, I'm not standing for the whole game. So, yeah, anyway, didn't see you. But we watched this one at the casino afterwards. But, beforehand. Lockie Fogarty, first one. I think it's a tip of the cap, don't you think?
I think so. Like, he's a forward, so, like, it's just, this never... when this happens, a forward, like, 101 points.
Yeah.
Tip of the cap for me.
Very popular number on footy numbers. Everyone seems to get him right.
Okay.
I think it's just because he's been around for so long.
Yeah.
And I think because he's wearing Cruz's old number. He got it passed down to him. So maybe that's just one of the
recognisable.
It's a weird one. But yeah, he's got 101 points, but I'm just tipping the cap to that one. Zach Williams as well, 99 points, tip of the cap. Playing against North, it's a bit easier to score. On the role change side of things, it's happened over the last couple of weeks. Mitch McGovern's now playing up forward to cover Mackay. Kicked 4 goals. He might struggle against better opponents, but easy access to a few points if he kicks some goals.
Sounds like, if he's up forward and he doesn't kick any goals, he could drop a low one. So that's not anything.
Yeah. Nick Haynes, I think, is too good for the podcast as well. I can't remember if we made him too good for the podcast or not, but plays that interceptor role so well for Carlton. Scored 94 points on the weekend. Happy to tick that one up as too good for the podcast.
He's actually been a decent pickup for them. For free almost.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Now, can you give me a reason why Luke McDonald is scoring so well? 87 points. I think he's had 4 in a row now that it's been above 80 plus. He's too good for the podcast. Why is he scoring so well?
Yeah, I mean, like 4 weeks ago, Shees was gone forward. Is it more ball there? But the's Hardiman's there. McCurch has come back
in. Yeah, to play
Daniel, I think he had someone like Chincotta go to him.
Yeah.
I don't know, I'm not personally a McDonald. I wouldn't be targeting him when a keeper. But
you're not a truther for McDonald?
No. But if he was on the waivers and he's, you got to be rewarded. And if you need a defender, but I don't know. I just feel like it would fluctuate with what North are doing at the moment. I wonder whether it's just Sheasel out, but McCurch is killing it as well.
Yeah, definitely. McDonald, 5th most requested waiver player, still available in 43% of leagues. I think I had him on the waiver wire bonus episode for members this morning. So, just another one to think about. But I can't really explain it, to be honest. I just think maybe I think he's gone a bit lucky with just a few situations. I think Daniel getting tagged freed him up a bit more, and that was the case this week. And there's just been a situation each week that's gone his way. But we'll wait and see if it's consistent. Onto the Port Adelaide versus Sydney game. Got busted by a K's leaving the game halfway through the 4th quarter.
Oh, no.
I have no problems. I like getting there late too. It's even better. You avoid the lines at the start. No.
Get the train home early.
Well, these days I'm more for an empty train than I am for seeing Port win or lose. So I appreciate that more. But yeah, it's funny in the group chat.
So what? How did he catch you?
He was catching the train home as well, but his train was I think he had to wait 20 minutes for it or something like that. So he went and had a drink at that bar.
Yeah.
That's across the road, across from where the train gates are, and he just caught me, took a photo of me and sent it to me, leaving early. So busted.
Paparazzi.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it happens all the time. Not. Sam Power Pepper, first one on the list. He's back on the Too Good for the Podcast bubble. 88 points this week, 20 touches, 6 tackles. I think he had a really shit patch in the middle.
Yeah.
But it was against a lot tougher opposition. And there's a few like easy games for Port in the last kind of... Yeah, there's a lot of tough ones as well where he's probably going to have some low ones. But like the games against like say Carlton this week or West Coast coming up, I think they've got like Gold Coast at home, which I think they should do okay in because they always seem to beat Gold Coast in. Gold Coast haven't won at Adelaide Oval. Now they've said that, they probably will. But yeah, like there's a few games like that where he traditionally goes okay in. So I think he's a good streamer option at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely stream him Thursday night. And I think you're a Power Pepper man. You got him in the team.
I've had him for years, yeah. I've got him in 2 leagues, I reckon, 2 out of 3.
I feel like, when you talk about Sam Power Pepper, you think, oh yeah, he's safe for a 70, 80, but then he has dropped those real low ones.
He's had some 30s,
so I think if he's on the bubble, he's in a bit of form, I'd be comfortable fielding him. But I don't know, I just feel like it's like with these forwards, like they go through, I mean, this is what I'm finding from my keeper, they'll go through a patch and then someone else will be going through a patch and I'll just switch them around and
they'll do the opposite.
And then then you just, it's hard to pick, but it's just the forward. It's just how it's working with the forward line. So
he's my my F5 at the moment with Brent Daniels injured. So I don't mind it too much.
Yeah.
Like it could be worse. I've got Nick Watson or Taylor Walker. These are the other options, which I'm not loving. Joe Richards, 86 points. He's been good since the bye. What do you make of him at the moment?
Yeah, I feel like it's just sort of similar. Like it's just if these guys are going to roll, like obviously playing half forward, it's so like it fluctuates so much.
Yeah.
But he does like. Doing not like I remember in the preseason I was like, oh, he's done some nice things and he started off well. So yeah, I was obviously finding a bit more footy. But yeah, it's just that again, it's a forward. But if he's in form, like it gives me confidence to just if I need to put him on field or stream him.
Yeah, no, I agree.
But I'm not sure if it's like role change. I think it's the same role. It's just...
I think it's just consistency, getting used to the team, structures, that sort of stuff. And you're not going to expect it each week, but it's just good to know he has the ability to score an 80 here and there, kind of like Sam Power Pepper, really. Manny Liddy, 74 points. Another guy that buried me. That was on field for the guy on the weekend. Expected him to get 40 and subbed out.
Yes.
No, 74 is pretty handy.
It'd be, if he was a forward, it might be a bit more valuable, but he's a mid only.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll get that in the next DPP.
I think he might, yeah.
Had a few CBAs, but Wines was out. I don't know. I do like the leg sleeve. I think it looks cool.
Well, watching the NBA today with OKC winning the finals.
That's awesome.
There's a few leg sleeves in there. SGA wears a leg sleeve.
Yeah.
Does very much remind me of the NBA. Rucks against Port is still going very strong. Brody Grundy, too good for the podcast. But
he had a 46-point last quarter, and Sweet obviously was subbed out that time, about the third quarter. So he killed it there. But obviously Port, even a double ruck, like gone the week before, still went
doesn't
crazy.
Stop him,
doesn't stop him.
No.
So, as you said, keep streaming against Port.
Yeah, it's the way to go.
It's captain options and stuff.
And then we've got some Sydney players. Their roles kind of keep changing. Like McInerney dropped out of... Like McInerney's been was playing halfback for a bit and then wing. He dropped right out of the CBAs this week. Only got a handful there, but still scored 92 points going forward. So, I don't know. What do you think of what the go is there?
Yeah, obviously they got some cattle back, the Swans.
Yeah, true.
Like Papley was in and Goulden, which is like, it's great to see him back because obviously a really high keeper prospect.
Especially for you who owns him.
Definitely.
Yeah. And like the guy who owns him in my league never comes to the footy and he came specifically to watch Goulden this week.
Absolute gun. He didn't have any marks at all on the weekend.
Yeah, right.
And
still scored pretty well.
Still scored 71. Yeah. So, Mills, it looked, I thought Mills was going to play inside mid and now he's half back.
Yeah.
And I wonder whether that's McInerney obviously was at half back, but I think it's changed with that, and they're playing Sheldrick as well now in the midfield.
Yeah,
more. He used to be the sub, so they're just. I wonder if they're figuring this out, and obviously they won. So that's it'd be interesting to see how they go the next few weeks with their basically a full team.
Yeah, definitely.
Except for Jay Lloyd.
Well, do you think he's going to get the recall? Do you reckon he gets one over Bice or Wicks?
See his score in the VFL?
Made it very clear that he doesn't want to be playing VFL very long. Hopefully he does get the I can see him missing a couple though until there's like a real injury.
Yeah.
Although I can see Bice missing and maybe he's the sub next week.
Yeah, Bice was the sub. Yeah.
Which would be annoying.
So you're owner of him?
I've now owned him. I got him for free essentially though. I traded Leo Lombard to get him.
Yeah.
Just a classic rookie for old player type swap.
And that was like recently, and now
it was like 3 weeks ago. I think I've got one game out of him so far, so that's pretty annoying. I reckon he comes back in, and worst case, for Lloyd, he's out of contract at the end of this year, so retirement game could be on the cards, and that could be huge if that's the case. I think their last game's against West Coast.
Okay,
it's away, but I think their last 2 games are really hard games. So if they want to get him out on a win against West Coast away, I reckon he'll play it. So
Bice was sub,
Oh, he's every chance. Wicks is like good defensively, but he touched the ball like 3 times.
And I don't think Florent is in the side at the moment
he's
either.
Twos. Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, pretty tough side. I can see a lot of those guys coming back in, really. But yeah, the only Sydney player was Joel Amartey, who had 82 points and kicked
bad.
0 goals, 6.
Did you see the footy show? Right, Matthew Lloyd was critiquing him, and every time Amartey kicked, he's facing exactly where he's kicking, and he's facing the point, like where the points are, and he's kicking straight to that.
Does he usually have like an arc or something, and it wasn't happening? Or?
Yeah, I don't
Surely
know.
Surely they practice that though.
It looks so simple, and he's just like literally where he's facing the ball goes exactly there.
Yeah, right. No, crazy. Yeah,
and he was 6 behind. And I think he kicked Did he kick 3 out in the full? So he could have had. Last time he came, he kicked 9 goals. I think against the Crows.
Yeah,
he's probably missed 9.
Yeah, definitely. All right, let's move on to Collingwood versus St Kilda. Actually, not a bad game for what we thought it would be. It was pretty close anyway. Patrick Lipinski, here's another role change, I guess. 125 points. Only 109. Was that only 109 plus score this season? So that's his only 100 plus score. I think it was meant to be for this season. The thing is, like, he's not playing that wing role he was playing at the start. Like, it looks like Sidebottom, Ed Allen, Hoskin Elliott are kind of rotating through that wing, and he wasn't really seen on there that much. I don't think at all. I don't remember him seeing him there for this game. So he's basically playing forward again. No CBAs, full-time forward. So like, I'm not buying this 125 points. I think it's just like a flash in pan.
Yeah,
good score.
It's hard to yeah. You want him in the mid or the wing or
So it's not a role change for the better. It's just that he coincidentally scored well this week. Mason Wood is the other one in this game. So he's back to the podcast this season, really. He had 86 points, but he was kind of playing as a key forward, which is where he was like drafted as. So it makes sense with the lack of tools. He kicked 3 goals, but again, playing that role, that's just way worse for, because if you've got Wilson and they played Burns on the wing on the weekend, and I think Philippou was going to play there a bit if he was out. So they're just playing him more forward, and it's just not great for fantasy. So I wouldn't buy into either of those scores, would you?
I think it's a typical wing sort of forward. Like it's just up and down. It relies on goals. I would be surprised if those guys are on the waivers though. Yeah,
true. Yeah, that'd probably picked up in most leagues.
Yeah.
Actually, I've got the waiver trends here for Lipinski. He's owned in 84%. Yeah, so
you might just be one you pick the match up.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
GWS versus Gold Coast. I didn't watch the 4th quarter of this game because I switched over to watch the Dogs. And Richmond, and apparently it was a cracker.
Yeah.
But anyway, Jake Riccardi, 104 points. He goes into the ruck and then kind of plays like, I was watching him on the weekend. When he goes into the ruck, he just kind of plays a lead-up role a bit higher. So it's kind of just he has more access coming straight out of defence. So I think he's still someone who fluctuates a lot, but just because he goes in the ruck, he gets a bit further up the ground, takes a few marks and stuff like that. I think he's a good option.
Yeah, I picked him up probably, was it 6 weeks ago? And he was doing awesome. It was just last week, I think you had a real low one, and I was like, that sort of hurt me. But because Briggs is out, so I thought he would be taking a bit more ruck time, which he is. But I still think it will fluctuate. I wonder if Briggs comes back. But even then, he was still scoring pretty well, forward. And it's good when you got a rotation into the ruck because it's access to more points.
Yeah, definitely. And then Harry Ralston's the next one, 83 points. I think he's made an impression in the midfield so far. Like, who are they missing in that midfield apart from Cornelio and will they even play Cornelio in the midfield?
Nah,
Because Callaghan came back in.
Yep.
Green's in there.
Yep.
So I think he's in the side now.
Yep.
I reckon in a good win, a couple good wins
Yes.
as well.
I looked at an article on AFL.com and it was Callaghan interview, and they said that their midfield was lacking consistency the last sort of couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And they've really found that
Yeah.
recently. And he mentioned Ralston being a big part of that. And last week he tagged Neil.
Yeah.
So I wonder if he's got a role now in there. He had high CBAs as well. And I think he's going to pretty much be in that rotation for the rest of the year as long as, that's sort of, I think he's a good option. I brought him in Classic as well.
Nice. That's always a good sign. Just having a look here at the CBAs because I'm just trying to see. Oh, this is the one I need here. Just trying to see what the Toby Green split was in this game. So Toby Green kind of dropped out a little bit. Now Toby Green was injured in the last game he played, I'm pretty sure as well. So he got even less CBAs in the game he was injured in. So that means he's dropped right out of the CBAs essentially. He went to 5 this week and only went in 6 in the game he got injured in, but that was in the first quarter, right? So effectively he's probably really had like a 75% reduction in what his CBAs would be. So that just my thinking is like maybe he's the guy who suffers a little bit for Rouse to be in the side, and maybe that is bad news for Brent Daniels when he comes back as well. He might be solely forward as well. If
might be
Ralston,
okay if he's come back from injury and just playing a bit more forward.
Yeah.
I think Ralston's, I'm pretty sure Kingsley is very hot on Ralston.
Yeah, I think
he
so
really
too.
likes him.
Well, he's good in the VFL too.
Yeah.
And Ryan Angwin, I think we saw him in the preseason do well in one of the preseason games. Had 73 points. He was starting on the wing, but then when Whitfield got concussed, and you're shaking your head because you had him captain in Classic and you were inside the top 100 or something.
Yes.
Very close.
I know we've sort of gone a few Classic references, but
Just not allowed in this podcast.
I'm very close to the top 100 and I had him captain. So anyway.
Yeah, bad. That's awful. They're the
And you
season
text me as well and I was like,
yeah, that's
Anyway.
season. Were you watching?
Yeah, I was watching.
That's right. Then I didn't break the bad.
because when you
news too
said,
much.
I think you said something
I
sort
read
of.
this where
Yeah, you went, yeah. And I knew straight away because I was watching and I was like,
dear. But anyway, I think if Angwin can find a halfback role, he'll be a good player. I'm just not sure if he'd get to I don't know. They're rotating so many players on the wing since Ward has been out. And I just don't think the halfback role is going to be his unless they do something with Whitfield again. So yeah.
I forgot they've had Fonty and like these guys, and Stone was there at the start of the year, so I feel like there's a spot potentially, but
For one of them.
yeah.
I think he might be one of the guys, like when Whitfield retires, he might be one of the kind of next guy that pops after that.
Under Ash.
Yeah. What's that?
Under Ash.
Under Ash. Oh, Under Ash. Sorry, yes, Lockie Ash. Bailey Humphrey is the next one for the Suns. 100 points. I just want him to please start doing this consistently.
Yeah.
Like, kick 2 goals in this game. Like, do you think he's like a bit of a target for a breakout next season?
I reckon he's going to hold forward status. So I think he's, 4th year next year?
Yeah, 4th year. What I like about like players like him are like young players that are cracking the ton at least, like a few times, like.
He's done it a few times this year as well.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. Like, there's the potential there to actually crack that ton. I'm just having a look here to see how many times he's done it. 1, 2. I think he's done it twice, but then he's had a couple 90s and 80s and stuff as well. So, like, I reckon there's a scope there to just kind of pump them up a little bit next season. Obviously, Matt Rowe's now staying, which probably hurts him a little bit. But, yeah, like, I think that you just see it more consistently. The biggest fear, I think, is he turns into a Cam Rayner. That's what I think a lot of people are worried about as well. So that's the other thing there. But
he is, They
love him in them. They love him in the midfield.
Yeah.
And CBA had an uptick this week as well. So
and I think he's one that, with Gold Coast improving as well, like, he's going to be on the end of it. I think I still hopefully see Gold Coast playing finals, and I think as they get better, that's going to be helpful for his game.
Yeah, Gold Coast got to remember as well. They've got played a game less than everyone as well. So if you add that game on, they're actually like sitting around 5th.
Yeah,
like even though it looks shit and they're out of the 8 now. And like it's because it's against Essendon as well, so it'd probably be a big win for them. Anyway, Sam Flanders finally had a good game, 88 points. Do you think this is a turning point, or?
I'm very interested in this because. There's been a bit of talk about here, like he's solely a forward. Like I've checked the champion data, so next year, like he's forward.
Yeah,
and he looked like he looked like he had a new role or something. Whether he's had the bye, I don't know whether he's refreshed or because he had that pre-season with the back. He just looked like he was rolling up more higher from half forward.
He looked just more like confident. You know what I mean? Like he looked like he was just winning more footy and that sort of stuff as well. So maybe playing a little bit higher up from that half forward. I don't know. Pushing up to the contest.
I know people are off him, but I would be targeting him.
Yeah.
Because I know Rao just signed for 2 years, but I just Flanders. I feel like he's got it in him to be a fantasy. Like we've seen it. Like
100%.
He just it is role like he was at halfback, but even it's funny to see him falling off because I thought even as a mid forward he'd still be averaging 85, 90 as a good option, and he's obviously I don't even know if he's going at 70.
Yeah, I don't think he is, but I guess the interesting thing is there's trade rumours with him as well. So he's playing enough forward time. He'll get forward status next year.
Well, he's completely forward. He's just forward.
Yeah. I've even got the I got the CBAs open here, and I bet you it's like ultra.
I don't even think he had any CBAs on the weekend.
He hasn't had a CBA on the weekend. Let's have a look here over the whole season. He's had 13% CBAs. Yeah. So there's absolutely no way he's not getting forward status next season. So like target him. If he cops the trade, goes to either halfback or midfield at a new club, like could be huge. It could be number one forward in the game next season.
Could be like Baz Smith this year.
Yeah, exactly. So he's probably a good one to target, especially if like whoever owns him in your league is contending or something like that, and he's killing him type thing, and you're kind of a bit lower, you could have a good option there.
Oh, well, and he's only defender. He's defender mid this year.
Yeah,
so
he can't change. Yeah, unless you play the triples. But yeah, and then Braden Fiorini had 87 points. He was actually getting some CBAs this time, which is something to watch because he scores best when he's getting midfield time.
Yeah,
sucks out in the wing. And like people ask me like, should I bring a Fiorini? And I'm like, there's no way he's getting that VFL role in AFL. He plays on the wing, and it sucks. But just add a few CBAs in for him and his score jumps up. So, a bit interesting to see there. I have a feeling he'll get dropped soon, though, because I don't think...
He's just, it's just very hard with him.
Yeah, I don't think Hardwick likes him either. And then on to the final game of the year, the heartbreaker. Sorry, the game of the week, the heartbreaker here. Sam Davidson had 108 points. There was no change on his role, right? It was just a Richmond game with a wing that was just a lot of chipping up.
True. Yeah, I think like Richmond, its transition against Richmond is like massive, like transition points. Yeah. So like a wing role where you're transitioning the ball, like I'm pretty sure that Richmond are number one. Okay. So, +6s and all that is perfect against the Tigers. Like I think a lot of people think West Coast, I'm playing West Coast, it'll be a good fantasy game, but West Coast has shown that the transition I think isn't as good as someone like Richmond.
Yeah.
So a winger is, and Davidson popped to 125, early in the year, so he's capable of doing it if he can get on the end of it.
Yeah, I see that Richmond are the second easiest team for outside midfielders to score against as well, so that's probably a good thing to actually note going forward. Rory Lobb's probably a tip of the cap, but he had 13 marks defence. That's pretty unsustainable. 13 marks. A lot of that was chip around too. Lockie Bramble, fuck you. 94 points. Lost by 1 point.
When does he get 94? Like,
I don't know. Yeah, exactly. Like never.
I mean, maybe on the occasion, but
yeah, I don't think. Yeah, it's that one game that just fucks you. But at the same time, I had Riley West who scored 84 points, which is, I guess he's done it like 4 times this season, but it's like a once in a month type occurrence for him.
I reckon he's like A grader at the Dogs.
They really rate him. Well, on the weekend, he looked like really good. Like it's the first time I've watched him like really closely for a long time, and he was getting midfield time, like inside midfield time, going forward, take a few marks, like kicks a couple goals, that sort of stuff as well. So I think he's quite a good player, but he will struggle to score in that role. But there will be games where he pops. And the reason why I've only picked him up is because I picked him up in the mid-season draft and they've still got 2 more Thursday night games. So he's just there as a streamer for me. Loophole. And then, but anyway, there's a lot of inflated scores for the for Western Bulldogs. So there's heaps I could have talked about, but I don't really want to. Then Jack Ross, 83 points, probably a tip of the cap to him. The forward mid-roll, I think he had a few extra CBAs this week, which helped him bump that up as well. I think with McAuliffe out, he might have been the one to actually go up a little bit more in there as well, so that probably explains that bump there. We'll race through the listener questions here. So at Benny Mitch wants to know, has Bergman lost his role in the midfield? Only scored the 52 points on the weekend, and I do think he had a significant drop. He had a 50% CBA drop on the weekend. Copped the knock pretty early. Shoulder. Played him forward a bit as well, which is And then Rosie went right back into the midfield. So I don't know if it was to do with the injury or...
Yeah, I've got... I think Wines out actually hurts Bergman. Like, Rosie went into the midfield. He was our number one mid.
Yeah.
And I like Rosie at half-back.
Oh, everyone does, yeah.
And I'd rather Bergman in the midfield or that split. Heaney on the commentary said that, because Bergman went to Heaney in the first quarter, he said that he told him that he was sick. He was like, had a flu, like a bit.
Yeah, a few people have been saying that players are sick and stuff.
And then I think he got the knock, and we've rotated it. Also, Rosie started at halfback, had Jordan on him.
Yeah,
I wonder if did he go to the midfield to break Jordan?
Yeah,
and Bergman got the knock to go back. So I think Bergman plays mid this week against Carlton. I reckon he'll go to like a Cripps or something.
Yeah, I think Porter's so much better with Rosie off halfback.
Yeah.
That swap will just happen this week.
And I think if Wines was 1 to 2, I think if Wines is back, it'll help us structure and it'll go back to what it was.
Definitely. Brett Heffernan official wants to know: is it time to give up on Dan Houston?
What is happening?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Like, is any other halfbackers scoring that well? Like Josh Dacos, I think, has probably moved back there. That's probably the killer.
Yeah,
for him. And maybe just struggling to get through the system as well. They're probably not the most fantasy-friendly team that they used to be. There's only really room for, I don't know, Pendles. The midfielders score okay, but yeah, just halfbackers don't really, unless you're Josh Dacos, who kind of just gets off the leash and runs anywhere, really.
Yeah,
so
it's really interesting. Like Houston, like even he started well, then he got that suspension, and now he's just come back and. I don't know, he's just, whether they're not using him or maybe they don't need to use him as much. Yeah. And they just use Dacos. They've also got, they're playing Perryman back there.
Yeah.
And he's not really doing much.
Yeah.
And not that he's a sort of a designated kicker as those two.
Yeah. I wouldn't give up.
But I wouldn't give up,
Yeah, no. I would give it another season in the system. Like, he's too much of a class player to be this.
I thought he was going to average 100 at Pies.
Yeah. No, it kind of makes sense when you think about it. But yeah, I think he's still got time to kind of improve and learn the system, find ways to score, I think. Matt Mortarded wants to know long-term for these players. So he wants to know, I guess, long-term, give him a 10-point window for these guys. So, like, he reckons EG 65, 75. So, Fonte, within a 10-point window, what do you think that he scores at, like, the peak of his career? What is the average?
Oh, dear.
I'm a 70 to 80 guy for Fonte.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah. Somewhere in between there. Well, just because of the role you play. But I'm saying in 5 years' time. Yeah. You know what I mean?
When Whitfield's gone.
Yeah. If someone like Connor Iden can score pretty consistently there, I think he could do a similar type of thing there.
Yeah, he's pretty young.
Yeah, definitely. What about Dan Curtin? What do you think what role do you find him finishing up in?
Yeah. So that's the biggest thing, isn't it? It's just, I always remember you saying about these tall players.
Yeah.
And because they're too versatile. Yeah. They never lock down to one role.
Yeah.
Like, really, you need him to be probably a midfielder.
Yeah.
Like a big body mid.
Yeah.
To be, because I don't really see him as a designated kicker. Like, he could play defense, but I don't see him as that guy that could be like a high scoring defender.
Yeah. A lot of people think he ends up as a full-time mid, but I don't know. I feel like I just would be doing that already if that was the case. Because they're midfield.
He's played wing, he's played forward, he's played back. And I don't know whether he's had CBAs. But
I think he's more of a 65 to 75 guy.
I'm going to put him in the same category.
Yeah.
Until we see something.
Unless we see like some full-time mid start happening. But I'm just not that sold on it. What about Harry Ralston? What window do you put him in?
Could he be like a row bottom 80 guy?
That's what I think. Yeah. More so, like, I would have him higher if it weren't for Callahan and Green being so young.
Yeah.
I reckon it's just not... He's going to be like the Jack Viney of the three, or like I said, like the Ollie Wines of him, like that 80 to 90 kind of guy, the row bottom.
He'll do that defensive role. That's what he's sort of doing now.
Yeah, the tackle guy.
Tackle guy.
Yeah.
80, solid guy.
Yeah, 80 to 90. Yeah, maybe even a 95 in his best season, I think. What about Logan Evans? Do you think he continues? Maybe like...
Gee, there's hype pre-season about him being the guy taking over.
Maybe 90 to 100 playing for Norwood. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, he can't get in the side at the moment.
Yeah, so I'm not sold like on him. I'm not as hot as I was in the past.
Yeah, in pre-season.
Yeah.
I'll go 70.
I think a lot of these 70s. Mid-season draftees kind of do come in, play pretty well, fizzle out, go away. So maybe that's the case as well.
So Rouston probably is the best.
I'd say
one
Rouston.
there.
Easy. Out of those three. 4. At Atrax 1223, hey guys, can you provide insight on Chad Warner and Zach Merritt regarding their positions in recent weeks and whether we could expect position changes on both players? Cheers. You've done some research here.
I have, yeah. So I don't know where they get the data from, but obviously watching the footy show, they put up a graphic of all the Essendon like mid-time and forward-time.
Yeah.
Merritt on this game against Freo had 63% mid, 26% forward, but there was a whole quarter there where he was on the wing.
Yeah.
And, a few weeks ago, he played defence and had kickouts against Brisbane. There's a bit of media hype on him now about Merritt not playing in the right position, which I agree with. I think he should be...
It all stems from Kane Corn saying he gets so much cheap ball.
Yeah.
And then they'd listen to him.
And, you've got Parrish, Caldwell, Setterfield getting more mid-time than Merritt.
Yeah.
Like, Caldwell, unreal, but Parrish and... Parrish has come out from an injury in Setterfield.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's they haven't, like... Their midfield mix is always that thing about Essendon.
Yeah.
But at the moment, with Merritt going back, didn't really have enough much forward. Playing wing, he'll be a midfielder.
Yeah.
Moving forward.
I'm looking at the CBAs now for the season. Like 62% for the season. And that means, what does that give you? 38% to be in another position.
Yeah.
Starting another position. And there'll be some bench time and stuff like that. So he's probably maybe borderline. But the thing is, like, I reckon it'd be so split between forward, back, like all those other times. Like it just wouldn't be enough in a secondary position to actually get one, which kind of sucks. But hopefully, like I'm not like panicking with him. Like if Bombers improve a little bit, he can go back to the midfield, play that kind of less accountable role type thing and do that. What about Chad Warner? Like, what do you think? So he's got the mid forward status at the moment, but I'm assuming he means will he keep the forward status?
Yes. So I was looking at, as I always look at the champion data profiles, I feel like they're as accurate as it can be moving forward next year.
Yeah.
He's currently just midfielder. So the last probably 7 weeks, his CBAs went up. So he's gone more midfield. And we saw that with his scoring. Like, you'll see there, round 6 to round 11, he had probably, 60% or more CBAs. And he was scoring a few tons.
He was 70 plus in all but one game for a 6 weeks stretch.
The last 3 weeks, he's sat around the 40%.
Yeah.
And I think, if he can sit at 40%, say, for the rest of the year, he probably will gain it back.
Yeah.
But I guess it's just roll with Sydney, what's happening.
Yeah.
What I've noticed is Sheldrick has had 60% mid the last 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And he's not sub. So, Sheldrick can probably only play midfield, whereas Warner can play mid-forward. So I think that's probably where the shift is. So I think, he's a chance, but right now he's a mid only.
Yeah, and I think there's a good chance that he does get forward status next season, like retains it. Because if they keep Sheldrick going in here, just having a look, like Goulden only had 11%. I expect that to go a little bit higher there. And it does seem that since Sheldrick has been getting more midfield time, that it's kind of pushed him out a little bit more. So if they continue with that, then maybe there's a slight chance I think he keeps forward status for next season as well. So at Tom Oates wants to know, is Jinby showing some promise now or just get rid of him? I have not been paying any attention to West Coast at all.
He's still getting the 60s.
Yeah. Do you reckon there's scope for I think there's scope for all of those players to score better in a better system. Like once they like improve a little bit. I think it's just this year he's playing full-time defence.
Yes.
And he was playing midfield a bit more last year.
I don't know. I'd be going for another kid, I think. I'm just not unsure about it. I just think West Coast, they're probably going to take, how long are they going to take?
Yeah, that's it. It's going to take a long time. Deeper leagues, stash him. Like if you're in a dynasty or whatever, don't get rid of him, stash him. I think if you're anywhere 16 keepers or less, you're dropping him.
Yeah.
I think that's probably
I think there's other kids out there that you can jump on.
Yeah, that you'll get in the draft.
In a Charlotte,
Yeah, exactly. Like, for example, this year, like I'd probably prefer to have Bailey Humphrey over him, which I got in like 4th round of the draft, I think, or 3rd round of the draft this year type thing. So, if that's what you're keeping, I don't know. I feel like you'd be dropping some quality to just keep him. But yeah. Anyways, I think that wraps it up for this week. How many gigs you got? Has it dried up during the winter, or you got more and more? You're going away on trains now and playing on trains, is that right?
It was really good, yeah. I really loved it.
So you're doing it again?
Yeah, I can do it again.
Do you do gigs in WA then?
Yeah, Perth and in across the Nullarbor, you like stop off and do one out back. The only thing is it happens on a weekend there, and I haven't got much phone service.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Over there, so I can't check fantasy scores.
Oh, jeez, that sounds rough. That sounds like torture.
I had to get Louis to look at my team.
Yeah. Look after it for you.
For Classic.
Jeez, you need to get some
keeper.
Starlink or something.
Yeah, Starlink, yeah.
Portable one.
I mean, they got Wi-Fi, but it's only, every now. It's just when you can get on, so.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds like torture for me, but no.
Well, if you're in finals or something, imagine in grand final there or something. I wouldn't. Awful. I'd have to make sure it's.
But it's good you're having fun playing gigs on trains.
Yeah.
And can people come watch you in Perth? If there's probably a few listeners over there that might.
Yeah, if you're at the station, basically I just play at the station there as it moves over. So the trains, they switch over and new guests get on. So people could be.
Yeah. Is it a bar or something that's there?
Yeah, it's
sweet
bar there.
Sounds pretty cool.
It's good.
All right, sweet. Well, get around us on @KeepLeaguePod on all the socials. If you want to support the podcast, please sign up as a member. If you want to watch the video versions of these podcasts, check us out on YouTube and make sure you're joining the Discord server to get involved with the Keep League community. It's where I'm most active. I chat to a lot of members on there. I always even put my trade opinions and stuff like that on there because I know none of my league is actually on there, so they can actually evaluate trades for me and stuff without them looking at it. So it's great. And if you're just a random user, you just make a random username. No one knows who you are. It's not like the Facebook group where it's tied to your name or whatever. So
I did some trades this morning actually.
Oh, did you? What did you do?
I traded Caleb Daniel and Sidebottom for a first and a third.
Okay.
Pick.
Just guys are going to lose position status / retire.
I had to get rid of Daniel because forward valuable.
Can't get a defender.
Got a first round pick for him.
Yeah, not a bad idea. Anyways, we'll wrap it up there. Thanks for joining us, Geordie.
No worries.
And we'll talk to you all next week.